The following thoughts on Happy Hour do not represent Cox Media Group or its sponsoring. Anything you hear may and will be used against you. Thank you. Voted as best local podcast in Tampa Bay by the Creative Loafing. You're listening to Happy Hour.
Are you feeling classy today? Sit down, pour a glass of wine, and listen to Happy Hour.
You're tuned in to Happy Hour, an hour where Happy rants about something. Sit back and listen in. Happy Hour is on now. Happy Hour is on now.
Yo, what up? This is Happy Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe. And now, Kyle Veet isn't here today because during the Christmas season, he will be hustling his ass off, doing his delivery job, delivering things from Amazon because he works for UPS. So he is a very busy man. So today, I will be flying solo with no correspondence here on Happy Hour. So tweet me to get into contact with me in real time. It's not hard. I promise you, it's not rocket science. It doesn't take a genius. All you have to do is tweet me at Ryan Hoppe Radio. And during our last show, we had a lot of interaction when it comes to the mobile app on the Google Play and iPhone shop, the Hoppe Radio app, and on Spreaker. So I want you to chat me so then we can talk. We can become friends. Maybe you can be my mentor. So via Spreaker and the app, chat me so I know you're listening. Support Happy Hour and Soli's Graphics out of Duluth, Minnesota. Our sales are through the roof. For just $2, you can support Happy Hour and local business in America. In these dire times of this economy, why not help out a badass podcast and small business? We have so much to get into, so let's get right into it. I am sick and tired of people ripping into the millennials. I am sick and tired of everybody acting like we're a bunch of buffoons that can't do anything. I am sick and tired of the older generation that is so miserable with their life, that is so out of touch, that they have to rip into the millennials because we have technology, because things are given to us easier. Here's what drives me nuts about the hate that we get. Here's what makes me so angry about the hate that we get. Here's what doesn't make any sense. When a person is born into this earth, when a person is influenced and they learn everything by the people that grow them up, if it's their parents or grandparents, they're the reason we're the way we are. So to Generation X or the baby boomers that constantly rip into the millennials, you're the one that raised us. We didn't raise ourselves. We didn't just pop out of some womb and then we learned everything by ourselves. You're the one that raised us. So maybe you were bad parents if the millennials are so awful. And what's the reason we're so bad? Because we like to use our smartphone? Because we like to take selfies? What's the reason we are so bad? I mean, let's think about it this way. What's the reason? Because we like to take Snapchat pictures and take a quick selfie, even though if you guys had them back in the day, you would do the same thing. What's so awful about us? Because we like to go on Twitter and Facebook, even though back in the day, if you had it, you would go on it too. What's so awful about us? Because we like to go to EDM shows and some kids my age take MDMA, even though when you guys were adults, you were doing acid at Woodstock, having sex in mud. So don't ever act like we're so awful and you're so grand and jolly. You weren't sober listening to Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin. That's what I don't get about them when they rip on us for liking technology and for liking music. Whatever is out, whatever is around us, that's what we like, dude. What are you talking about? I'm so sick of this. They act like they are grand and jolly. Oh my God, it drives me insane. If David Guetta was out in the 70s, I swear to God, you would be listening. You would be doing MDMA. But Led Zeppelin was out back then. I mean, it gets me so mad. If you think you're original for ripping on the millennials, if you think you're the first one to ever rip on a new generation, then you have the IQ of a dead rat that's laying in an alley in Brooklyn. If you think you're the first one to ever rip on the next generation, it happens each and every time. That's what drives me so bat-crap crazy. Do you think your parents, you 50-year-olds, approved when you guys were having sex in mud at Woodstock? Do you think our grandparents, their parents, that would be our great-grandparents, approved of when they were breaking the law at the Prohibition and doing alcohol illegally? Every generation looks down on the next generation. So sit down and shut up. I'm so sick of this. Wow, we like to watch MTV. Woo. Because what you guys watched in the 90s and 80s was so great. Married with Children. Woo. Beavis and Butthead. People rip on what we like, but things that come out really aren't ever that good. Besides the show like All in the Family, was Mork and Mindy that great? Was the Dick Van Dyke Show that great? You look at shows like Mad Men, and it shows what really happened in the 1960s. They weren't sleeping in separate beds. I'm so done with this. My God, shut up. Because I saw this, and I see this more and more. I feel like a lot of people that are my age that are listening to this might not hear about this hate that we get because they're just friends with people our age. And that would be the age of 18 to like 30. That's the whole quote-unquote millennials. And before I get to my next point, what an awful name for a generation. Baby boomers is catchy. Project X, or not Project X, that's an awful movie. Generation X, that's a cool name. Millennials. Ugh. Try and say that without vomiting. Millennials. Who the hell came up with that? Some geek from TMZ that was trying to have a nice headline? Jesus Christ. But back to my point. A lot of people my age don't see this hate because on Facebook or on Twitter, they only follow people that are my age. So it's like 18 to 30. But I'm friends with 4,500 people just because the last 7 years I've grown. And what I mean by that is I always try to grow my brand on LinkedIn and Facebook. So I'm friends with a lot of people that are over 40. And they are constantly ripping on us. They're ripping on us for going to Lollapalooza. They're ripping on us for getting drunk and doing things. No one is ever perfect when they are young. You come off old, you come off desperate, and you come off sad that the fact that life passed you by and now the young generation is having fun and maybe you didn't get to have the technology back then because it wasn't out. Done with it. And no one says anything. Maybe it's because the millennials are scared or it's hard to express it in a 14-second Snapchat or Tumblr post. But I'm going to say it, and I will say it till the day I die. Ridiculous, the amount of hate we get. Ugh. And it's sad that this is like constant BuzzFeed and Huffington Post and CNN headlines. Any journalist who writes articles or opinion blogs about how awful the millennials are, take a seat back, go on a 2-week vacation like Rahm Emanuel, which we will get to later, or just get yourself suspended because you are uncreative, you're uninnovative, and you're not very unique if your blog post or your headline is about us. Shut up. Because I saw this blog, and it's getting shared all over the place. So once again, the blog wins because we're talking about it, but it got me so mad when I saw this on Facebook. A few people that I work with shared it, and it's comical. I'll read it and then I'll explain why I'm so mad. It says, Generation Crybaby, why millennials are an effing joke. There, I said it. Because you guys are so great. Having sex in mud. Can you imagine if blog posts were written about Generation X and the baby boomers having sex in mud at concerts? Ridiculous. Do you see how many homeless people there are from Generation X, from the Vietnam War? I'm just saying, how about we try to help them out and not rip on us, my generation, you dimwits? Ridiculous. And I know I'm coming off abrasive, and the headline I'm about to read is about my whole generation being a bunch of crybabies. And basically for the last 10 minutes, I've been ranting. So I'm kind of proving their point, but I'm trying to do it in a way where it's intelligent and I expand your mind. I'm just saying. And this is a blog post by Rachel Foot or Fute, or however you say her awful last name. When I was a junior in high school, I had the most amazing English teacher. I was the teacher's pet who kissed his ass. I added that part in. Her name was Miss Y. She preferred the class by saying she would grade everyone fairly and that not everybody would be getting A's. First of all, teachers are like that now. You're acting like just back then teachers were hard. Just because we think of the bad education systems in such cities as Baltimore and Chicago, it puts this idea in our brains that education is awful all over the place. It's just in inner cities. So it's not just in inner cities, but what I mean is a lot of times it takes place there. So what I'm saying is she's implying that everything's doomed and everything's bad in schools. Even though some of the most smart and innovative and unique people are the millennials with ideas. That's what I'm trying to accomplish with radio. One of my good friends, Joe Sessions, nobody knows who he is yet, but promise me when I say in 2036 or whatever year we can run for president, Joe Sessions will be up there. Remember that name. I'm just saying. It says that my teacher was a little blunt for some people, but she always brought up a good point. Millennials, your parents won't say it, and your peers won't say it because it seems every little thing is sending you to the therapist because you're so victimized. But get the F over yourself. First of all, I go to therapy. I suffer from ADD, ADHD, bipolar. Therapy is a lot of money. It's not cheap. So for this dumbass imbecile to imply that going to therapy is negative and to just get over yourself, shut the hell up, honey. Here's why that gets me mad. She's using that as, millennials are under stress, so then the parents give them ADHD medicine to relax, or they go to the therapist because we might need help with something in life. To use that as an excuse for your propaganda blog is ridiculous. Rachel Foot, or Fute, or whatever your name is. That's one of the things you'll hear from people that are from the whole baby boomers or Generation X. They always say, the new millennials and 90s kids, they have it easy. They just pop a few pills, go to the doctor, get some meds, get some therapy, and it's all good. I've seen a therapist and a psychiatrist for about 15 years now. Been through many meds. It's not like a Tic Tac where you just go to the line at Winn-Dixie and you just buy Tic Tacs and you pop them. When you take meds, it's supposed to help out your anxiety or your stress or something in your life. And just because ADD and ADHD and bipolar wasn't spoken of as much back in the day doesn't mean that us going to it is an escape because we're a bunch of crybabies. So shut the hell up. Ridiculous. It just says here that she's ripping on us for going to the doctor. She's ripping on us for going on social media, even though if that was around when you were a kid, you would be doing the same thing. So that's what really that's what baffles me. If Abraham Lincoln had internet in the 1800s, he would have been using it. If we had the technology that will be around in 2,500 and 500 years, we would be using it. So this whole thing of ripping on the new trends just makes you come off old, it makes you come off desperate, and it makes you come off pathetic. I'm just saying. Ridiculous. I'll tweet out this article. I want to give what your take is. It's at Ryan Hoppe Radio. I guess my ultimate point is no generation is perfect. The one in the 1920s, they drank illegally during the Prohibition, if it should have been illegal or not. It's up for debate, but they were breaking the law. Rebel without a cause. It's not angel without a cause or church leader without a cause. It's rebel without a cause. James Dean was a badass. In the 1970s, having sex in mud at events and music fests. 1980s, wild hair bands. You have girls like on Married with Children. The average girl was like the kid played by Applegate. That's what I'm getting at. 90s was a little more like 80s, but I was pooping my diapers. 90s was a little more average. 2000s, you have the millennials. Every single generation has its trends that the older generation won't like. And trust me when I say, when I turn 40, trust me when I say, when I reach my midlife crisis, I will not rip into the new generation. I might call out some of the things they do, but I will remember the hate that the millennials got. I will remember the pathetic, just hate that we are getting, and I will remember that it just makes you come off old. It just makes you come off desperate. It makes you trying to come off like you're young and you're so wild and hip. How about you try to relate to us? How about you try to get to know us and not come off like a bunch of old farts?
Next on Happy Hour.
Next on Happy Hour, there was a lot of turmoil in Chicago. There's a lot of crime. It's very dirty of a city. There's a reason why they call it the Windy City. It's not called that because of the weather. It's called that because of the politics. And I am going to bash Rahm Emanuel for all it's worth. So that's coming up. As he went off on a media member. So tweet me at Ryan Hoppe Radio. If you're listening via Spreaker, chat me. Or if you're listening via the Hoppe Radio app on Google Play and iPhone, chat me. And on Hoppe TV on Periscope, chat me. We will be right back on Happy Hour after this. Hang on.
Happy Hour. Happy Hour.
Hey, it's Ryan Hoppe from the award-winning Happy Hour, and I'm here today to speak about my guy, Brandon Langley of Buzz Designs. Is your website so atrocious that you can't even be found on Google? Do you need your website to be updated? Or do you not even have a website? Do you need to get some graphic design done? Do you need advice on computers? Are you just lost in general? Trust me when I say my guy, Brandon Langley of Buzz Designs, is the man for the job. Buzz Designs has built websites that have gathered millions of views. He has worked with some of the biggest names in app development in 2015. The unique talent of the developers from around the world come together, and they will help you expand and grow immediately. With their hard work and their die-hard ethic comes the affordable pricing. So trust me when I say Brandon Langley is the man for the job. He will tackle any challenge, and he will not give up until the job is done. When I came to town here in Tampa Bay, my website was crap. I met Brandon Langley at a concert. He recognized me. 2 months later, I am so proud of my website, hopperadio.com. He can make you proud of whatever you want to share in 2015 when it is so vital and it is so important to have top-notch websites and top-notch graphic design for your product, your company, etc. To get into contact with Brandon, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. All you have to do is go to buzzdesigns.me. That is buzzdesigns.me. And there at the website, you can contact him. Be sure to leave your name, your email, and he will get back to you as soon as possible. I'm a man of my words. And trust me when I say Brandon Langley of Buzz Designs is the best around. and the best in Tampa Bay.
Like the fire needs the air. Yeah. I won't burn unless you're there. You're there. I need you to hate.
Tweet Hoppy at Ryan Hoppy Radio. Email him, ryan@hoppyradio.com, and give him a nice, sexy Snapchat at Hoppy Radio.
All right, welcome back to Hoppy Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppy. To get into contact with me, we don't have a phone line, but that's not an excuse not to say what's up. Like my guy, they call me Glick. He is one of the biggest fans of Hoppy Hour, and it truly means a lot. He said, loving the show, pimp. Not very often I get to listen live. That's what I want to hear. What I want to hear is that you're listening live via the app on Google Play or the iPhone shop, and now you're interacting with us in real time. I saw that my phone was blowing up via Hoppy TV on Periscope. The problem is, I love the Periscope comments, and sometimes when you read them afterwards, when I watch it on replay, I'm like, God damn it, that could have been prep. That's a very good point. But it's very hard for me to look at Periscope and do the show at the same time. But I want to say keep commenting, because I watch it over again to see what people say, and it means a lot with the live interaction. So thank you. And my guy, Kevin Hawley from the Kevin Hawley Show, said, hit Rahm hard. Screw that guy. And that's what I'm about to do. That scumbag, leech, imbecile, dirtbag of a mayor. Not going to sit here and say that I would ever be presidential material or mayoral material, or even material if I wanted to run for a school board when I have kids. I got catfished by a major market radio show in Cleveland. When you look up my name, I'm learning to embrace it. It'll probably never go away. It's me covering my lower regions because I got catfished by a radio show up there. It's one of the weirdest days of my life. So what I'm getting at is, you'll never see me running for politics. Plus, I'm not a phony. I like to keep it real, and I say it behind the mic because I want to expand your mind. For me to be a politician, I would have to be fake, corny, even more goofy, and not say it like it is, because politics is phony. But I will say this. There is something about that scumbag known as Rahm Emanuel, where right when you look at his rat face, because he looks like a rat, he looks just like a rat that you would see in the alley on the south side of Chicago. He just gives you douche chills. You don't really look at Rahm Emanuel and get a humble feeling. Or when you see him talk, you don't really think to yourself, that's a guy I could get a beer with. Or that's a guy that I would want to speak at my graduation. He seems like a piece of dirt. Obama, say what you want about his politics, but he comes off like a decent dude who is cool enough that you could shoot hoops with or get a beer with. Same with guys like Bill Clinton or even George Bush. But right when I see that scumbag Rahm Emanuel talk, it gives me chills. And I'm not going to say that him being in office is causing all of the chaos and all the senseless murders on the bad parts of Chicago. And I'm not going to say him getting rid of the police commissioner was the right or wrong decision, because I was talking to my mom last night, and she's like, Ryan, you have to be very careful when it comes to talking about politics, because you want to get your facts right, and it causes very quick controversy. So you will never really see me be a political show. I'm more of an entertainment/talk show. But I will say this. Rahm Emanuel is doing everything wrong when it comes to being in the public eye. First, he gets mad at Spike Lee because he names the documentary on the bad part of town he named it Chirac, which is the name that the rappers from your city, Rahm, embraced. So Rahm Emanuel is freaking out that some director from Hollywood is trying to make, quote-unquote, entertainment with a movie. He wasn't all into fixing his city at that moment. He was calling out a movie director who's famous for sitting on the sideline at a New York Knicks game. That's when you know this guy is an absolute buffoon, when you're letting Hollywood get to you. And you know why Rahm got so mad about that? It wasn't even because of the name. It was because it makes him look like a sour loser. It makes him look out of touch. It makes him look like an awful mayor. It actually makes him look worse than he might actually be as a mayor. That's why Rahm got so mad. It's because everything has to be about Rahm. To me, he wants to be mayor because it's the power trip of being the mayor of the third biggest city. I never really get the vibe from Rahm Emanuel that he's being mayor because he cares about Chirac and fixing it, or that he cares about anything. He's just another corrupt, scumbag, lowlife politician who cares about his image and his power trip of being the mayor of the biggest city in the Midwest, the third biggest city in this country, and one of the biggest and nicest cities in the world. I'm just saying, it's absolutely ridiculous. And all the heat is on Rahm Emanuel right now. All the pressure is on him. I've talked to media members from Chicago that I have connections with. I'm not going to say their name, but they're saying that he's being less friendly and he seems more worried and more nervous than usual. And that's not a good sign for a mayor who was elected to lead and maybe fix or improve the city. When you are elected into a position, you're supposed to fight adversity and come up with ideas on how to fix a corrupt city with an awful murder rate and so many problems. But Rahm Emanuel is basically mad that the city's problems is making him look bad. That's all he cares about. Because even when that whole Chirac movie came out, he was like, it's going to hurt tourism. Do you really think a Spike Lee movie that everyone will forget about in 6 months is going to ruin tourism? Is that all you care about, the city making money? Chicago will never, ever have less tourism because it's the best city in this country when it comes to Navy Pier, Wrigley Field. The White Sox Park is nice. It's in a bad neighborhood. The United Center is great. We have the best pizza, the best sandwiches, the best hot dogs. We're a great city besides our flaws. So, Rahm, when he had that whole point of it's going to hurt tourism, that's just an excuse because, back to my point, everything has to look good for Rahm because he has an ego the size of the Sears Tower times 10. He has the ego the size of this globe. So I was looking through Twitter, and it seems like Rahm Emanuel is getting more and more national coverage. Everyone kind of knew who he was. He was Obama's crony, Obama's friend, this and that. He knew Obama. But it seems like the negative attention, especially with that video and just with the crime all the time. Hey, that rhymed. It just kind of seems like people are beginning to realize how awful of a human being he is. So this next headline I'm about to read to you, and then the news clip, and this is from the Chicagoist.com. This is the ultimate proof that he is not mayoral material. The fact that he gets this snippy and this angry and this rude at a media reporter who's just doing his job of asking you the hardball questions. These hardball questions come with being the mayor of a major market, you dimwit. Screw you, buddy boy. It says here, watch Rahm Emanuel's angry message with the Politico.com reporter who asked about his vacation plans. The guy didn't ask him, how often is your wife putting out? The guy didn't ask him, what's your kid's name? The guy didn't ask, what neighborhood do you live in? The guy didn't ask, how often do you watch porn? He didn't ask anything personal. What type of car do you drive? How big is your house? He asked him about his vacation plans. To me, that's a flattering thing to ask. What are you doing over the holiday break? This and that. The reason Rahm is mad is he probably deserves the vacation. Whatever. Obama goes on vacations to Hawaii, whatever. The reason Rahm gets mad, and I will play the clip in a second and read the article, the reason he's getting mad is it makes him look bad because people will then say, why is he going on vacation when the city's in turmoil? I think it's okay he goes on vacation, whatever. But once again, this goes back to the fact that everything has to be nice and shiny for Rahm Emanuel. There can never be any bad coverage of him. Everything needs to be nice and clean. He needs to be fresh and sharp. Nothing can be bad about him. He's got an ego so big that when anything makes him look like the little man or makes him look bad, it seems like he's a very shallow and sad person who's just lost touch with the world. It said, this was bound to be a tense moment when Mayor Rahm Emanuel submitted himself to a tough but fair interview. So it wasn't like hard. It wasn't unfair. This is a tough interview. This is what comes with being the mayor. This is what comes with sitting in on an interview. Do you think they're going to ask you, what do you watch in your free time on Netflix? How often do you work out? When you sit in on an interview with someone from Politico.com, I'm sorry, but they're going to ask the hardball questions because that's a political news site. And with your city under so much turmoil, it might be your fault. It might not be. With everything going on, of course they're going to ask you the hardball questions. If you didn't want it asked to you, don't sit in on the interview. Dumbass. Keep your mouth shut. Here's what happened. Political reporters Mike Allen and Natasha Korecki asked him in front of an audience the day after he fired the police chief. So you know he's on edge. You know his palms are sweaty. He's nervous. He's very cranky. Probably didn't get a lot of sleep. I often try to think, what's it like being a politician? How much sleep do you get? Imagine being Obama or Rahm Emanuel and just thinking, what's going on right now while I'm sleeping? Like, they must be nervous 24/7. So, of course, during this interview, I'm assuming Rahm's low on sleep, probably very cranky, on edge, knows that the media doesn't like him and most people don't like him because he's a scumbag. So he's ready for anything to go his way. So here's what happened. Basically, they ask him about his vacation plans, and the way that Rahm takes the interview is very unclassy. It's very unprofessional. It just makes him look worse. Like, what I don't like about it and what I don't get, Rahm, if you're listening for some reason to my podcast, is don't you want to look good? With all the turmoil going on in that great city, it might be your fault. It might not be. It's hard to say because it's politics. Why not be a little more friendlier? Why not put on the fake politician act and maybe be nice to people? Then people wouldn't treat you like a dirtbag, you dumbass. All right, before I get to this, I have a few messages here. Let's see what people are saying. They call me Glick said, Rahm seems to have no idea what the hell is happening. So, there you go. Thank you, Glick, for checking in. I appreciate it. I agree with you. I just feel like things are going down a bad spiral. And it's not like anything's really changed. Besides the video, Chicago crime has always been bad, but with the way that the media is reporting the news on the spot with social media, I think we're finally getting national attention about how awful of a human being Rahm is. And then you have Hillary Clinton saying she wants to have people look into the actions of the police department in Chicago. I feel like after she said that, it drew in the whole idea of, What's going on with the mayor? So my point is, all eyes are on him. And for the first time, he's showing that he can't handle the pressure. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play you this news clip, chime in, and just go off on this dirtbag. All right, here it is. The tense conversation between Rahm Emanuel and some reporters who are just doing their job of asking the tough ball questions, you dirtbag.
We were saying backstage that you want to come back as an Emanuel child. You're to take your young people on fascinating trips around the world, headed these holidays to Cuba. Why?
Well, first of all, thanks for telling everybody what I'm going to do with my family. You had a private conversation with me, and now you decided to make that public. I really don't appreciate that. No.
First of all, Rahm, I like how I said that. You're the mayor of the third biggest city, and even if you're not from Chicago, your face has been on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, the local news, whatever. People know what you look like. People knew about you before. You were probably going to get spotted somehow in Cuba when you're the mayor of a famous city. So this wasn't like crazy hidden plans. There's this thing called smartphones and Periscope and Twitter and Instagram and Tumblr and Facebook. You can share things in a second. I promise you there would have been someone there who would have recognized you and it would have got out. That wasn't such private information. A lot of people go on vacations during the holiday season. Life is tough. You work all the time. You need to relax and unwind. We expect you to go on a vacation. That's what politicians do. That's what normal human beings do. So what I'm getting at is the reason you're getting snippy, once again, going back to my point, is the fact that you care about what people think because you have a shallow ego. And you're going to be getting those tweets and those messages of, why are you going on vacation when the city's under turmoil? And for the first time, I'm on your side when it comes to the decision of you going on vacation. I think your reaction is pathetic, but I think it's okay that you went on vacation. The guy just brought it up and you got snippy because you have a dart behind your back. You're very nervous and you're showing how much of a little man and how much of a pussy you are, dude. Good riddance. All right, back to the clip. It's going to get good. All right, here it is. You got to love this man. The mayor of the third biggest city, acting like such a crybaby. My little cousin, who's 8 years old, is more respectable, more likable, and he shows more leadership when we're playing flag football than you ever show, dude.
For what? I really don't.
That's
my family.
That wasn't them.
No. You asked me, what are you going to do this year? So I'm expressing to you now publicly my displeasure. My family's trips are my family.
And I'm going to share publicly my displeasure of you getting mad over a softball question. Hey, buddy boy, you're a politician. Your job is to answer the tough questions. So if this is a tough one, then you're not political material. It may be your fault with all the turmoil in the city. It may not be your fault. But if you're getting this mad over the guy bringing up that you're going to Cuba, then you're not a mayor, dude. You're just a guy that's this public head that's just sitting in the office in Chicago, dude. If you can't even sit there and handle this one without acting like a little bitch, then resign. Right now, if you're listening to Happy Hour or you hear this podcast or anybody that's listening knows Rahm, maybe in the media, tell this pussy to resign. Because if you're getting this mad over your vacation being brought up, he didn't bring up your hotel room. He didn't bring up what resort you're going to. He just said you're going to Cuba. And if you act like that, Rahm, then you are as likable as this piece of flint that I just picked up from the ground that I just stepped on, you bitch.
That said, Amy and I as parents make a decision every year to take our children to see other parts of the world.
This is how dumb Rahm is. This is how much of a dimwit he is. A lot of people go on vacations during the holiday seasons. A lot of people in life want to go visit the world and just leave America and see what's in maybe Sydney or New Zealand or Cuba or Canada or Mexico or China. He could have taken this thing that he was asked about going on vacation, and he could have taken it to the positive way of saying, well, like a lot of Americans, I like to have fun in life, you know? So I'm going to be going to Cuba with my family. I want to have my privacy during that time, but I'm going to be going there, you know. It's going to be nice weather. We're finally allowed to go there legally. I can't wait. But this shows how much of a little man he is, that this is how he reacted. Jesus Christ.
Something my parents did with me, because I think it's not only a great family time, but most importantly, and it's a great family time where they don't have to share me as a mayor, but they get to have me totally 100% as their father. But more importantly, they get to be exposed to other cultures, other parts of the world, and one of the things we want is for our children to know that the world has people of different faiths, different backgrounds, with different ways of living and coping with similar situations. Our kids have seen other parts of the world.
See, now he's being normal. Now he's making it about himself, and he's saying why he's going on vacation. Rahm, it's easy to be a politician. Everyone else does it, and they don't come off as unlikable as you. Like, it's sad when me, the guy who does an award-winning podcast in Tampa, this little guy in Tampa, even though I'm 6'8", it's sad when I would work that answer better than you, buddy boy. All right, back to the clip.
And yes, this year, if my wife doesn't kill me now because of what you just did.
Oh, shut up! Your wife is going to kill you because you told a reporter that you're going on vacation to Cuba. You didn't say what resort. You didn't say what city. You didn't say what part of Cuba. You didn't say how long. This says nothing. It wasn't like you said, me and the wife got some fancy time last night, and no, I don't have as much stress. And he brings it up and says, I hear your love life is better. Then maybe you have a right to be angry. Do you really think, dude, that your wife gets mad because a reporter who's reporting the news is just saying that you're on vacation? It would have gone out either way, dude. And secondly, I think your wife is probably more ashamed to be the wife of a loser, uptight, arrogant, dirtbag, out-of-touch imbecile of a mayor of a city that's crumbling. To me, that would be more embarrassing than having my vacation plans come out. I would be embarrassed if I'm his wife and I'm at the book club, or I'm playing tennis, or I'm at the rich club, whatever rich people do. And everyone knows that you're the mayor of Rahm Emanuel. Everyone knows that you're the one that sleeps next to him at night. I would feel more self-conscious about that. I'm not saying that's the right way to live life. I'm just saying, to me, that's what I'd be more worried about, is your wife's public image towards her. I'm just saying.
We will take our kids to Cuba to be exposed to that culture in the same way they've been to India, in the same way that they have been to Uganda, Kenya, Zambia, Chile, and Vietnam, and Laos. I can't wait. Can you give me your cell number? Because I'd like you to listen to Amy.
Rahm, number one, don't ever try to be funny. Because people that are funny are people that come off likable, people that come off like someone you could watch a game with or get a beer with, people that actually, I don't know, have person skills, they have people skills. So don't you ever try to drop a joke. I'm not saying Obama is Chris Rock or some comedian. I'm just saying when you see him crack a joke, he's a little more likable, maybe because he doesn't freak out on media members all the time. He sometimes does, but he does it in a more swaggish way than you, Rahm. Second of all, this has nothing to do with your wife. And actually, you're a dumbass for saying your wife's name, Amy, because you don't exactly have the most common last name. You don't have the last name of Johnson or Jacobs or Smith. You had the name of Amy Emanuel. All people have to do is search up Amy Emanuel on Google. I'm not saying people should do that, but you saying her name publicly 4 times is giving your family more exposure than the dude originally did when he brought up your vacation plans. This would have been fluff. People would have overlooked this. People wouldn't have even read into you going on vacation and ditching the city if you didn't freak out like this, you dumbass. God. And you're going to probably say to me, Hoppy, if you don't like him so much, why are you talking about him? Hoppy, why are you ripping into him? Because if he doesn't know how to handle a softball thing that's being asked at him, if he doesn't know how to handle this adversity of being in front of non-famous reporters at some little luncheon for Politico.com, I'm not ripping on the website. I'm just saying it wasn't like this was a huge interview. If you can't handle this, dude, then you need to resign, man. No wonder things are bad. It may be your fault. It may not be your fault. But there's a reason no one likes you. It's because today my cat took a turd and it smelled really bad. I had to empty the litter box. When I dumped that litter out, everything that dumped out has more class, it's more likable, it's more intelligent, and it has more credibility than you ever will, Rahm Emanuel. And the only reason you were ever elected as the mayor of Chicago is because you had Obama's name next to you. And the second time you ran, you went up against another imbecile and Chewy. I wasn't in town for that election, but I follow all the Chicago news sites on Twitter, and that was a joke of an election. You should appreciate the opportunity you have and not take it for granted, you piece of dirt.
Happy hour is about to end. But first, it's time for Last Call.
Ow.
Sometimes when I do Happy Hour, it's a fun show. But there's sometimes that things get me so mad that it feels good to have a place to vent. It feels good to have a place to express my anger. Like during that rant, I was saying to myself, I'm ranting at the podcast room, at the Cox Media Building. I'm honored that they let me use it. And it's almost like radio therapy for me because it's hard to express everything with 140 characters on Twitter. So this is just my outlet to call out that scumbag, Rahm Emanuel. If you like what I said, email me. I will read the emails on air. Ryan@hoppyradio.com. Follow me on Twitter at RyanHoppyRadio. Follow our news anchor, RyanStuprich. Follow my executive producer, Kyle Veet, at Hoppy Radio Kyle. Also, download my app for the Google Play and iPhone shop. All you have to do is search up Hoppy Radio. You can listen to all 32 of my interviews. You can chat me live and listen to all my rants live. That's at the Hoppy Radio app. Support Happy Hour and Soli's Graphics out of Duluth, Minnesota, and my guy Nicholas Seymour. All you have to do is go to tinyurl.com/happyhourdecal. That is tinyurl.com/happyhourdecal. Also, and I play the commercial during my breaks, my guy Brandon Langley, he made me a badass website. Go to hoppyradio.com. You can see all my interviews, all the Hoppy TV shows, and more. And follow me on Periscope. That's where I do random Periscopes during the day. And that is where you can watch Hoppy TV Live, which is the visual element of Happy Hour. By the way, this has been Happy Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppy, saying peace out and screw you, Rahm Emanuel.
Happy Hour.
There's just $200 here, Nappy.
Seriously?
$8. There's just $200 here, Nappy.
Seriously? $200? I can barely let the porn shoot for that much.
Porn shoot?
Yeah, we direct pornos.
You teach him El Porno yet, Juby? Huh?
Shut up!
What is this word? El porno.
It means wealth. It's how you use your body to make money. Isn't that right, Juby? Tell him. Tell him with your mouth.
Shut up, Nappy. Where's Mappy?
We left his ass back at the house. Who needs maps anymore? I'll tell you where to go. I'm Gypsy, the GPS.
Gypsy can run the camera. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll run the camera. I'll run it good.
Hey, did I see Jubilee over here? Where is she? Where is she?
You know Jubilee?